to Deep Sleep Stories. Thank you to everyone who's been listening. If these stories help you relax or fall asleep, a short review, comment, or sharing the podcast with someone who might benefit is a simple and meaningful way to support the show so that we may continue to offer it for free. Now, take a slow, gentle breath and let's begin tonight's story.
Good evening, my friend. I am Owen Thorne, and I welcome you to a place of soft serenity. You've arrived here to find rest, to let your breathing slow, and to allow the day's cares to fade away. In a short while, you'll be guided into a Viking world where Thor's rolling thunder meets the calming patter of rain upon ancient wood. For now, as you settle in, listen to the gentle hum of your own breath. Feel the subtle rise and fall of your chest, and with each exhalation, notice that a little bit of tension melts away. Let your shoulders ease and drop into a gentle state of relaxation. Your eyelids feel a growing heaviness, and the mild tension behind them starts to dissolve. Each breath flows in, filling you with calm, and each breath flows out, carrying any lingering worry far from you. Now, invite yourself to picture a soft glow, like the last rays of sunlight before twilight slips in. These rays stretch across a wide and peaceful land. Let that light wash over your thoughts, smoothing them into stillness. Soon, we'll cross the threshold into a quiet Viking Longhouse, where the rains patter and a warm hearth will lull you into comfort. Breathe in and breathe out, letting your mind drift toward that welcoming place. Rest here, just as you are, and prepare to be gently carried off into another realm, where thunder surrenders to the hush of a calming rain. Long ago, in a far northern land under ever-shifting skies, a tall wooden structure stood at the heart of a small settlement. This was a Viking longhouse, its strong beams carved from thick timber, and its roof layered with turf. On many nights, wind-driven sleet and flurries hissed across the surrounding fields, finding no purchase on the sturdy walls. On this particular evening, though, no snow accompanied the wind. A gentle rain, steady and determined, whispered across the roof's thatching. Beyond the settlement's borders lay rolling hills, the colour of faded gold in daytime, turning dusky amber as twilight approached. Low-hanging clouds drifted over these hills, sometimes lit from within by soft flickers of lightning, reminders of Thor's mighty presence. Occasionally, thunder rumbled in the distance, a gentle kind of roar, as though the great thunder god's voice resonated far away, cautious not to disturb the quiet. The people of the Longhouse felt little fear, for they believed the thunder to be a gentle sign of blessing, a reminder that they were never truly alone beneath the wide, eternal sky. Inside the Longhouse, the atmosphere was calm and comforting. A wide, smoky hearth glowed in the central aisle, spreading flickers of orange across the beaten earth floor. Smoke drifted lazily upward, finding its way through a small open smoke hole in the roof. Over that opening, rain pattered, creating a musical pattern of droplets that soothed the mind. A handful of simple lanterns hung from crossbeams, their small flames dancing in the hushed interior. Those flickers illuminated carved wooden pillars decorated with runic symbols, each swirl and curl representing ancient stories and old hopes whispered through time. Tonight, the clan members found themselves in an unhurried mood. A hush had fallen over the space, and only soft voices and measured footsteps stirred the air. The usual hearty laughter and the clang of feast preparations had gently receded. Instead, all listened to the patter of the rain. There was a sense that the storm outside, mild as it was, brought with it a special kind of peace. In the corner, near a table lined with empty clay cups, sat a quiet figure, a traveller passing through the settlement. This person had come from distant shores, carrying stories of foreign seas and shimmering horizons. Now, exhaustion weighed upon the traveller's eyelids. The glow from the hearth traced warm lines on the traveller's cheeks, and the gentle music of rain lulled their thoughts toward drowsiness. Nearby, a small group of listeners dozed by the embers, lulled by the soft hush of the evening. Gradually, the quiet figure rose, feeling the pull toward a deeper rest. The Longhouse caretaker, an older woman with bright eyes, approached with a kind smile. She placed a thick woolen blanket over the traveller's shoulders. "It's a gentle night," she said softly, glancing toward the rafters where water drops echoed. "Thor has tamed his thunder for us this eve. Sleep well, friend. The storm will stay gentle until morning." Emboldened by this warmth, the traveller moved toward a wooden bench padded with straw-stuffed cushions. The bench stood beside one of the carved posts where a small shield hung, painted with swirling designs, reminiscent of wind and water. The traveller leaned back, eyes wandering over the runes etched into the beam. Runes meant to bring protection and calm. Each rune seemed to flicker as the lanterns waved, as if carrying silent secrets of other lands. Outside, the rain kept its even tempo, drumming a lullaby upon the longhouse roof. From time to time, a soft rumble of thunder seeped through, yet it was never jarring. Merely a faint reminder that storms, too, can be gentle, can cradle instead of clash. As the night deepened, the grey sky merged with the watery earth below, and the longhouse felt like a hidden realm, floating between the world of men and the realm of dreams. Children curled up under thick furs along one side of the room, their small hands loosely clutching carved wooden toys. One child had been playing with a little dragon figurine, a reminder of ancient tales of sea serpents and fearless journeys. Tonight, though, their only journeys were inward, into the land of slumber, guided by the lull of rain. A caretaker gently placed another log on the hearth, coaxing the flames to offer just a bit more warmth. The child gave a sleepy yawn, eyes fluttering shut. Further along, an old warrior, silver-haired and weathered by time, reclined against a heavy wooden pillar. In days past, that warrior's voice would have risen loudly in telling legends of battles and feats of bravery. But on this evening, the old warrior watched the sparks drifting from the fire. If you looked closely, you might see the softness in those eyes, a surrender to tranquility. His hand rested on the pommel of a sword, but the sword lay idle, a mere relic of a more restless era. As thunder rumbled softly overhead, his thoughts drifted to easier moments, to the kind of peace that comes with acceptance of the now. A young craftswoman, known for her skill in weaving wool tapestries, sat near a loom placed against the far wall. Though she was no stranger to late-night work, her hands now barely moved. She gazed at the cloth, half finished with scenes of swirling dragons and vines. The subtle hiss of raindrops drew her deeper into thought. Each drop tapped upon the thatched roof like a gentle reminder to slow, to breathe, to rest. In the flickering light, the tapestry's threads glimmered with faint colour, as if the woven figures themselves understood the hush descending upon the household. All across the Longhouse, the hush grew. A few glowing embers in the hearth cast dancing shadows upon the walls, shadows that stretched and swayed like graceful spirits. The caretaker passed occasionally with cups of warm herbal brew, steeped with mountain flowers and fragrant leaves, to any who might still be awake. One by one, the clan's members and the travellers faded into a dreamy state. Above them, the occasional murmur of thunder wound itself around the tapestry of the night's rain, weaving a lullaby both earthly and divine. In those quiet hours, memories seemed to drift in the smoky air. Thoughts of voyages across stormy seas softened into images of calmer waters. The mighty wings of ravens overhead turned into the gentle hush of wind over meadows. And the stories of gods riding across the sky became ethereal daydreams of light dancing on clouds. Everything seemed to merge into a single note of stillness, a moment suspended between the heartbeats of the world. A cat, sleek and grey, wandered across the Longhouse floor, stepping carefully around furs and blankets. Its ears twitched at each roll of thunder, yet it showed no fear, only curiosity at the echo. The cat circled near the traveller's bench, pausing to listen to the slow, rhythmic breathing. Then, with silent grace, it nestled at the traveller's feet, tail curling around its body. Even the cat, a creature of keen senses, appeared comforted by the rain's lullaby and the faint trembling of far-off thunder. Outside, the flickering lightning illuminated the hills in gentle flashes. The farmland, the grazing fields, and distant rocky crags revealed themselves for the briefest of moments before hiding again in the tranquil gloom. Through the open smoke hole in the roof, a tendril of cool, rain-scented air drifted in, mingling with the warm breath of the hearth below. The fresh scent soothed all who inhaled it, its purity reminding them of how nature both roars and sings in quiet measure. Amid this hush, the traveller's mind began to wander beyond the Longhouse. They envisioned the swirling wings of Valkyries overhead, not in battle formation, but gliding through a gentle sky, their once ferocious cry hushed to a lullaby. The traveller's thoughts dipped into stories once heard around foreign fires, tales of grand halls perched on cliffs, where the wind whipped through stone arches with a booming echo. Those tales now softened, echoing only faintly in the traveller's drifting memory. Within this longhouse, in this moment, all storms were subdued, all calls hushed. Time became fluid, measured not by clocks or rigid schedules, but by the slow crackle of the embers and the intervals between raindrops. Now and then, a little gust of wind would nudge the longhouse door, causing the thick wooden boards to creak in a gentle protest. Each time, the caretaker or someone still halfway awake would check to ensure the entrance remained secure against stray drafts. Then they would settle back down, exhaling relief that the storm outside chose to remain calm. During one such lull, the caretaker noticed the old warrior awake, gazing at the drifting sparks of the dying fire. She approached and knelt by his side. Gently, she placed a hand on his arm. "Tonight is kind," she said, her voice a mere whisper. The old warrior nodded, his gaze distant yet peaceful. He spoke only a few words in return, something about gratitude for the gentle thunder. She smiled and left him, letting him savor his quiet reflections. Soon after, he too slipped into the safe embrace of half-dreams. Across the room, the young craftswoman set aside her loom with a sigh of contentment, folding her tapestry over a wooden bar to keep it from dust. She trailed her fingers over the bright threads one last time, imagining the day when she would complete that woven tale of swirling dragons beneath a sunlit sky. But that was for another day. Tonight, the hush made it all the more tempting to rest, to float upon the slow river of time that meandered through the settlement. She, too, found a cozy corner, draping a woolen shawl over her shoulders, letting herself melt into stillness. Outside, the meadows and forests drank the rain with gratitude. Leaves trembled under droplets before letting them slip down to nourish the earth. Streams filled, dancing with a soft gurgle. Even the stones wore a faint sheen under each flash of lightning. Over time, the wind eased, allowing the night to grow even quieter. The thunder, as if following an unseen lullaby, now hummed distantly, an occasional reminder that the storm had not ended, merely softened. At the far end of the hall, a wooden door led to a small enclosure where animals were sheltered. A pair of calm-eyed goats and a stout pony shifted softly in the straw. They sensed the hush that had overtaken the settlement and settled with contented sighs of their own. Sometimes the pony would flick its ears at a crack of thunder, but soon enough it would return to the slow rhythm of rest, lulled by the same gentle rain that charmed every other living creature. One of the younger clan members, a gentle soul who tended the animals, tiptoed quietly into the enclosure to check on them. Lightly stroking the pony's mane, this caretaker whispered comforting words before returning to the main hall. In that short walk, they passed from the sweet scent of straw and animals to the aromatic mix of herbs, smoke, and warm lantern light. The transition was like stepping between two comforting dreams, each with its own gentle lullaby. Meanwhile, the traveller sat half awake, half lulled, listening to the rain. Their thoughts drifted to the stories told in mead halls about the might of Thor, often portrayed by the booming crash of thunder, the blinding flash of lightning, and the fury of storms that accompanied a warrior's spirit. Yet tonight, in this humble settlement, the thunder god seemed to play a different role, a guardian of rest, allowing only mild roars in the distance. The lightning softened behind clouds, and the rain hushed into a soothing patter. Cloaked in that comforting notion, the traveller imagined Thor standing watch on some high ridge, majestic hammer in hand, ensuring that the storms remained tranquil. Perhaps, the traveller mused, even gods know when to let the world breathe, to let the hearts of mortals find solace in the night. The sense of being protected, yet free to drift, melted away all lingering caution. As hours wore on, the lantern flames shrank, their oil nearly gone. One after another, they sputtered softly before going dark, leaving only the hearth's crimson glow. In the dimness, shadows deepened, but they brought no dread. Instead, the darkness cradled everyone, offering them a private cocoon within the vastness of the stormy night. The caretaker made one final round, checking each resting soul, ensuring that no chill draught touched a bare shoulder or a child's uncovered foot. The hush became nearly absolute, punctuated only by the drizzle against the turf roof and the fading crackle of the hearth. Among those who still hovered on the edge of consciousness, a communal sense of unity gathered. Here, in this shared space, people from far-flung places and those rooted in ancestral soil came together. They breathed in the same hush, drifted on the same lullaby of rain, and found that, in quietness, all hearts speak the same gentle language. In that speechless communion, time felt suspended. The settlement outside might have vanished beyond the curtain of darkness and rainfall. The sea, the mountains, and the winding roads of the world might just as well have become memories. All that mattered was this wooden shell of a home, this haven beneath a slate-grey sky, and the whispered promise of sweet, uninterrupted rest. The old warrior let out a contented sigh. The traveller's eyes closed fully, mind adrift in gentle reveries. The caretaker gave a final nod to the hush and allowed herself to sit, feeling the deep pleasure of a night well cared for. The children, the young craftswoman, and everyone else, lulled by the raindrops, sank further into peaceful slumber. Even the cat, content at last, curled into a soft ball of fur, drifting into cat dreams of flickering candle flames and quiet corners to explore. Beyond the stout wooden walls, the night carried on with its hush. Occasionally, a distant flicker of lightning painted the horizon silver, and thunder rolled in mild echoes across the hills. But no one stirred. The settlement slumbered, unified in trust that the rain would continue its rhythmic blessings, that Thor's thunder would remain subdued, offering only the mildest encouragement for deeper rest. If the gods were watching, it seemed they too had chosen to do so in silent reverence. In the stillness, stories of dragons and sea voyages, of woven tapestries and carved runes, of foreign travels and homebound roads, all melded into a single tapestry of dreams. A tapestry that wrapped around every sleeping mind, whispering that rest at its heart unites every creature. The Longhouse stood firm, an ancient sentinel in the hush of the storm. Time faded further, measured only by the gentle heartbeat of raindrops and the last glowing coals. Each soul, at peace in body and spirit, floated through the soft embrace of dreams. The whisper of raindrops, the hush of thunder, and the warmth of shelter became the lullaby that carried them from the waking world into the rejuvenating depths of sleep. The night grows deeper. Every breath comes more softly now. The rain continues in its gentle cadence. The Longhouse, once filled with activity, rests in a comforting cocoon of silence. Your thoughts float, unhurried, within the shadows. You hear the mild hum of thunder, far away, reminding you that all is well. The hearth's embers fade into a quiet glow. Softly, the smell of the damp earth and the warmth of the woolen blankets lull you further. Each breath releases another strand of tension. Each beat of your heart slows just a fraction more. In this cradle of dreams, your spirit drifts, safe and supported. The old walls stand like loyal friends, protecting you from the outside storm. There is no need to stir, no need to wonder. Everything is in place for a night of deep and healing rest. Let the last of your waking thoughts fade. Invite a calm emptiness to fill your mind. Your eyelids feel heavier with each gentle moment. The hush of night wraps around you, rocking you in its ancient rhythm. Sleep descends like a warm mist, easing you into a realm of quiet dreams and soft breaths. The echoes of thunder guide you like a distant drumbeat, deeper and deeper into peaceful oblivion. Let go. The story has been told. The rain still whispers. The old beams stand guard above you. All is calm. All is safe. Good night, dear traveller. Sleep well